In this one, I want to talk about anxiety. I know on this channel I've talked a lot about my story and my struggle with anxiety, but I realized I've never given the full scope of how my anxiety started, when it started, how I got through it, and how I've gotten myself to the place that I'm at today, which is barely any issues when it comes to anxiety. Before I start this video, I want to preface by saying I'm not a mental health professional yet. I am a life coach, but that does not make me any expert in mental health issues. This is my path and my story, and one size does not fit all. This is how I helped myself without any medication, without doing any of that. Does that mean it's the right way for you? Not at all. Does that mean drugs for anxiety are bad? Not at all. If you're experiencing anxiety, if you're experiencing depression, your first line of defense should not be a YouTube video. Go to a doctor, go to a psychologist, a psychiatrist. If you're in trouble, that should be your first line of defense. That being said, I do want to talk about my story and my experience because I've come a long way. My struggle with anxiety has always been centered around losses of relationships and honestly dealing with a lot of narcissistic people. My first really go about with anxiety was going through a really heavy breakup years ago, probably in like 2017. I'd gotten to myself to the point where I couldn't leave the house without having a panic attack. The walls would close in on me and my palms would get sweaty, my heart would race, I would feel like I was gonna faint in public. And then I started having anxiety about anxiety. And that is like the crux of anxiety attacks, is you get to a certain point in the rabbit hole of anxiety where you're not even having anxiety about anything, you're having anxiety about having anxiety. Like, oh, I can't go to this event because I'm gonna have an anxiety attack. It got to that point. And so one day I had just gotten so sick and tired of feeling the way that I was feeling. And y'all know I went through another bout of anxiousness, anxiety, whatever it is, about a year and a half ago. I ended up in the hospital once or twice because I thought I was having a heart attack. I always refused drugs. It was just not something I wanted to do. I also want to I also want to give a disclaimer as well that the road to recovery from anxiety or debilitating anxiety is not linear. It's not you don't flip a switch and then your anxiety is gone. You don't just read a couple of books and your anxiety is gone. You don't just meditate a couple of times and then your anxiety is gone. It's something you have to work at every single day. To this day, I still work at it. I know myself enough now to know the things that I need to do for myself in order to prevent myself from having an anxiety attack. And I can feel the difference in my body when I don't do those things. What helped me first and foremost was eating healthier, putting better foods into my body. That doesn't necessarily mean being a vegan or being a vegetarian. I still eat meat, but eating cleaner, eating foods that are nourishing my body helped a lot with my anxiety. Helped me to lose weight, helped me to become healthier. So I found that cutting down certain foods, sugar, i.e. sugar, cutting out caffeine. I just gave up caffeine for like 5 months because I just needed a break from it. I just implemented it back into my diet, decaf, I want to say a week ago, but even then I'm drinking the coffee with more natural creamers, stuff like that helped me a lot. When my body started becoming healthier, my anxiety and depression lessened. Again, that is because a lot of my anxiety and depression is linked to PCOS, which I might do a video on in and of itself. I recognize that those two are linked. So for me, treating my body well helped with my anxiety, but it wasn't permanent. Losing 40 pounds, I thought at first when I started eating healthy, because that was the only thing I was doing to help my anxiety was eating healthier, and it worked for a time. I thought that was the permanent fix to my anxiety until I had reached another point in my life that was very hectic about 2 years ago where I was experiencing anxiety all over again, probably the worst anxiety I'd ever felt. I realized I needed to be doing more. So that leads me to my next line of defense when it comes to anxiety, and the next habit that I've picked up when it comes to helping my anxiety: meditation. I know I say this all the time, but at the time that I made that 7 ways that I help my anxiety, I forget what I named that video. At the time that I had made that video, I put meditation on the list. I wasn't meditating every single day. I had meditated, I was meditating more frequently than the average person, but it wasn't an everyday routine thing. that I was doing. I would literally only use meditation to calm myself in times of anxiety. And I've learned that meditation is more a proactive defense against anxiety than it is a reactive defense. And so what I've come to realize in my own habits is that meditation every single day, whether I'm having anxiety or not, keeps my baseline at a calmer level. And it actually allows me to deal with more stressful situations in a calmer way because it brings my baseline to calm. So meditating every day, incorporating that 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day. That's it. If you have 15 minutes out of your day to ground yourself and just listen to some bullshit on YouTube, I can tell you right now, it's a fucking game changer. If I can get myself from where I was 2 years ago to where I am now as far as my temperament and my anxiety levels, I promise you meditation is probably 60 to 70% to thank for why I've done that, or why I've been able to do that. So I recommend that for anybody. And I could do a whole video on meditation itself, because so many people, every person I talk to, the first thing they say to me is, I don't know how to meditate. There's no right way to meditate. Literally just taking time out of your day to just keep your body still for 10 minutes. And even if and just allowing your thoughts to come. Sometimes I meditate and I listen and I hear my thoughts, and it's like, you got to pay that fucking credit card bill. You got to go pay that credit card bill. Hello, you got to go pay. It's just what happens. It's how our human brains work. There's no right way to meditate. Meditation is a game changer when it comes to anxiety. I started implementing better habits in my life, cutting out drinking. Drinking alcohol was a huge stressor for my body. I started noticing that when I was in those stressful places in my life, I would drink my feelings, and the next day without fail, I would have the worst anxiety known to man. And cutting out drinking for, I think, again, 4 months, just not having a lick of alcohol for that time period kind of resets your body and your brain. And it kind of gives you that balance again. What happens is with anxiety is we get thrown off balance. And so, I know for myself, I have a tendency to like burn out when it comes to the things that I'm putting into my body and the things that I'm doing and the people I'm around and all of that. Sometimes you need a couple of months to reset. I needed a good 6 months in solitude, not seeing anybody, not talking really to anybody, not hanging out with anybody, to just spend by myself. I'm not saying that's the best thing for you to do. You go with what feels good for you, but I can tell you that for me, that helped my anxiety a lot. Journaling, I don't do it every day. I do it when I can. I do it as often as I can with my busy schedule, writing down things that I'm grateful for. Just free writing things that just are coming out of my head, things that I'm feeling that I may not realize I'm feeling. A lot of the times, what I noticed with my anxiety was in the midst of an anxiety attack, it would feel like your chest would tighten up, and you would feel like, for me at least, I would feel like I couldn't breathe and like somebody was sitting on my chest. And the minute I allowed myself to cry, to feel whatever it was I was feeling, it was like the Hoover Dam had opened and the floodgates had just opened up, and like the emotions that came out of my body just like literally like bursted out. And the minute I started crying, I would notice my anxiety start to dissipate. And again, I can't speak for anybody else, and maybe if you are watching this and you can relate to this, let me know in the comments below if this has happened for you. But for me, allowing myself to feel the emotions, a lot of my anxiety came from bottling things and holding things in to my chest, not saying things that I wanted to say, not feeling whatever it was that I was going through at the time, holding on to it, and it remains in your body, like that trauma remains in your body. And I would always notice in the midst of my panic attack or my anxiety attack that the minute I would start crying would be the minute I could breathe again, because I was allowing the emotions to flow. So it sounds simple, but feeling your feelings helps a lot when it comes to anxiety. The first thing that I think of now when I start feeling a little bit of anxiety, and that's the next thing that I want to say too. I know the title of this video says how I cured my anxiety, and I put cured in quotations because it's not cured. You're alive. You're living life. You're going to have stressful moments in life. Life's going to do this. You're going to feel the ups and the downs. That's natural. You're going to be anxious about that event that you have to go to and you don't know anybody. You're going to be anxious about that presentation that you need to give at school. You're going to be anxious about meeting that new person that you swiped right on fucking Hinge. Whatever it is, you're going to have anxiety in life. You'll never be cured of it, especially if it's something that has plagued you for years like it has plagued me. But this is the best way that I have found to maintain my anxiety without medication. And these are things that helped over time. How did I come across these things? That might be your next question is, okay, Tori, but how did you figure this out? It took a lot of trial and error on my own. It took a lot of self-help, watching videos on YouTube and watching a lot of YouTubers that I will link down below, because I could not even begin to give you all of the people that I have followed that have helped. It took a lot of reading books. One of the books that I recommend the most would be The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. That would be one of the books that I would definitely recommend reading, if, just to get out of your head. If you want some book recommendations, I would recommend watching my 10 books that you should read. I forget the title of the video, but I'll link it in the description below, or put a card up if I can remember. Really, I didn't, there was no one set person that said you need to meditate, or you need to journal, or you need to this, or you need to that. The one person who helped me was my therapist. And so that would be, again, like I said, going full circle back to the beginning of this. My first line of defense was a mental health professional, a social worker, a licensed social worker who knows what the fuck she's doing. And she gave me the tools that I needed and explained also and educated me on what it was that I was feeling. And I then took that and furthered my research, if you will, or furthered my reading, or furthered my practice. It's one thing to read about it. It's one thing to even talk to somebody about it, right? Like, I'm a life coach and I talk to people and I try to give people tools similar to what my therapist did for me. You try to give people the tools, but really you are the one who needs to take the action. I could tell you until I'm blue in the face how great meditation is for your anxiety, but if you don't put it into practice, if you don't set aside time every single day in your schedule to do it, that's just fucking words, You have to also help yourself. My story from anxiety, heavy anxiety and depression, to where I'm at now, it is not linear. It's been a roller coaster. And so that is one thing you have to realize if you are on this journey to trying to cure your anxiety. Before I go, I want to let you guys know that this is what anxiety looks like. Anxiety looks like a smile on somebody's face. You can't always tell when somebody is in the midst of an anxiety attack. Again, how it presents isn't one size fits all either. You never know what somebody's going through, but I promise you can get through it, because if I did, you can. So that's it. I love you guys very much. I hope this video helped. Let me know what you want to hear from me in the next video. I love y'all. I'll talk to you guys later, soon. I don't know. Peace out.